and welcome to Sweet Tea and Thread. This is episode 21.
Glad you keep up with that.
And I'm Shai.
I'm Bethany. Thank you so much if you're a returning viewer. If you're new, we hope that you enjoy the podcast. Be sure to leave us a like down below and a comment. We'd love to hear what you're working on, anything you like about the podcast. And consider becoming a subscriber. That will just let YouTube know that you like our podcast and want to know when we upload a new video. So they'll send it right to your subscription box and you don't have to go searching for us all over the internet.
Yeah. And it's free. You don't have to pay anything to be a subscriber.
I know, that's the best part.
Yeah. So, all right. We're going to get started with what we're wearing. And I'm wearing my Casapinka Breathe and Hope shawl, which I made out of Urth Yarns Harvest Oleaster and Hedgehog Fibers, not Poppy, but Monarch. Poppy's what I used on the hug shot. So, and I'm real pleased with the way the colors turned out. Now mine's a very subtle striping, since I used colors that are very close together. A lot of people have used more dramatic combinations. They're just as beautiful, but this was just where I wanted to go when I was picking out my yarn.
This would be more of a dramatic,
right? Because
this is so light, and then you have the dark.
And those would be beautiful together too.
I know, I love that. But I have a lot of examples if you would like to see. Here's another dramatic one.
One of Bethany's favorite parts is figuring out all the color combinations.
I know. It's kind of addictive. You get into it and then you just want to keep going. Get something like that. A green, or you could even put the green with that.
Yes.
Like seriously, I have color upon color upon color. But yeah.
Yeah. But again, it was really kind of Casapinka to offer this Breathe and Hope shawl pattern for our local yarn shop day that didn't happen this year. But she went ahead and offered that, and we're very thankful to her for doing that and the hug shot that we've shown previously. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm wearing.
Yeah. I'm wearing something that Shai knitted. I didn't make this. This has been a shop sample, and this is the hemp scarf. It's a kit that we have, and I will just kind of undo this so that you can see. It is a 2-color scarf. It has this beautiful open weave pattern to it. And this yarn is really great for summertime.
Yeah.
Not only because the pattern's open weave, but just because it's one of those lighter weight yarns. It's not gonna be like overly warm, such as like a wool yarn would be. And we have these kits that we brought out for summer in lots of different colors. This one is similar to the color that I'm wearing. The only difference is instead of this charcoal gray, it has a brown in it. We also have pretty blue set, you know, the 2 different tones of blue. If you're an Auburn fan, here's your color for you if you're into college football, which is pretty big down here.
Very.
But these are definitely Auburn colors. And then this one's one of my favorites. This uses the gray that's in this one, but instead of the lime green, it has a kind of mustardy yellow. So these are just a few of the colors that we have. We still have a lot more. We have neutrals, we have ones with color pops in them. So, you know, you can find the color palette that works best for you.
And these kits are the Holy Hemp Scarf by Beat Street. And it was a fun knit. I really enjoyed making that scarf. Pretty easy. And I just thought it makes a delightful little pop of color to accent a summer outfit.
Yeah. So, but.
All right. Well then, finished objects. Ready to move on to that?
Yes.
And my finished object is my scarf. My Breathe and Hope. So I just got it finished, just wove in the ends this morning. So we'll move on to Bethany's finished objects.
Okay. The one that I guess I'll talk about is actually behind me. She's hiding. Let's bring our lovely model over here. This Betty.
Betty.
This is Betty. Everybody say hello to Betty. Mabel is currently modeling in our window front, so she was not able to be here today. Betty is modeling my Baltica cardigan. This has been on my needle since 2018. So to everybody who thinks that I knit fast, I don't. This, I had the back of it done for a while, and I had part of the front and just set it aside. This is a seamed cardigan, so you do knit this in pieces. You knit the back, the two fronts, the sleeves, seam it all together, and then you pick up for the button band. It has a tiny texture to it, and I'll be sure to take a close-up photo so that you can see the texture of it. But that texture just kind of elevates it from a very plain cardigan to a simple but really elegant and beautiful cardigan.
Yeah.
So this was knit out of Berroco modern cotton. It's a cotton rayon blend, and it really drapes beautifully. It feels really nice and just soft but cool to the touch. So this has been a great kind of cardigan for me to carry around if I know that I'm going to be in air conditioning, but I don't really want to wear something that's wool during the summertime. Then I can just carry this with me, and it keeps me warm enough but doesn't overheat me. But
It's gonna be a great kind of all weather for us here in the South. A kind of an all weather, all seasons cardigan.
Yeah.
It feels wonderful. It makes me want to make one.
So the color that I did use, it's called the Providence color. So you can see it's this kind of brownish gray. It has a little bit of a purple undertone to it. It shows up a little bit differently back here because our lighting is a little bit different, but you can kind of see. But yeah, I love this yarn. We have lots of different colors in this yarn. We also have a DK version of this yarn. The sweater calls for a worsted weight, so that's why I use the worsted. But the DK has the same feel to it, and there are lots of DK sweaters out there that would be perfect for these.
Oh yeah.
So we have some that are brights, some that are more jewel toned, and we have lots of neutral options. So you can make your own. I will say, however, this is not really beginner friendly. It helps if you have experience knitting sweaters. It doesn't necessarily have to be a seamed sweater that you have knit in the past, but they consider this to be an intermediate level. The only thing that you really need to know as far as the intermediate level goes is how to keep up with your pattern when it comes to your armhole shapings, because you work the armhole shapings the same time that you work a gradual shaping on the front of this to give it just that slightest little bit of a V. And in addition to all of that, you are keeping up with the patterning, which is just a 4-row repeat, but you know, you're keeping up with the patterning on the cardigan. So
I love it. I think it's wonderful.
yeah,
I think it looks really good.
Once I finally got back around to knitting on it, I was finished within like a week and a half. So,
But she had knitted lots of things between starting this and finishing it up. So.
yeah, this was my procrastination project. I'm great at those. They just
Well,
kind of sit for a while.
Yeah. We had a little hiccup that kind of stalled us for a minute, but it turned out wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm real
So,
pleased.
that's my
I
finish.
think you did a great job.
Do you want to talk about the one underneath it?
We can. This seems to have hit the top 100 list on Ravelry, and we've shown it before. It's the Anker summer shirt. Bring it a little closer. and you can see this detail. We made the largest size at the time. I think she's increased the sizes on a lot of her patterns, and I would imagine she has on this one. I haven't looked up to see, but we made this out of, actually Amy, who has made quite a few of our shop models, did this for us in the bamboo pop, and that's another really for us all-weather wear.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels wonderful. The shirt worked up really well. The bamboo pop is a lovely yarn. It's a bamboo cotton blend.
So it has that beautiful drape to it.
Right.
It just kind of hangs on the body really lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And it is short sleeved. So this is kind of like the perfect, I would say for us, definitely spring weather. Once you hit like the middle of summer, you don't necessarily want to wear a sweater, but it still is very comfortable. So yeah, I love this. I love the color too.
Mm-hmm. I love the color. I love this design, the yoke design that she's done on this. But again, it's Anker Summer Sweater by Petite Knits. So it seems to be real popular right now. And we did this
2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah. So put Betty back in her place.
I'll give her a cardigan. We have the air running. She might get cold.
Okay. What other finished objects we have?
So the only other finished object that I have is a half finished object. I finished the first blueberry waffle sock. So the pattern is originally written for DK weight yarn, but it is adaptable to different weights of yarn depending on what you prefer to knit your sock in. So if you take your basics vanilla sock recipe, you can use the stitch pattern for this blueberry waffle sock to make these. And you can see it's just a lovely kind of, I don't know, broken rib in a way. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. So I knit this out of fingering weight yarn. This is the Urth Harvest, which is the same that Shai used in her Breathe in Hope shawl. This is their indigo color. And I have the second one on my needles right now. I just turned the heel this morning, so you can see what that looks like. Look at, that's kind of sad, but you can kind of see what that looks like. So I'm ready to pick up stitches for the gusset and decrease those down and finish the sock. Once I turn the heel on a sock, it's really quick and it's usually done within the next week.
Yeah.
So depending on how much knitting I do on this, it could be finished by this upcoming weekend.
I love the way that color is working up. That indigo is just so pretty.
Yeah. So, half object done.
There you go.
That's
Move on
it
to
for finished objects.
Finished objects. Works in progress.
Okay.
Well, I had a few things that I was hoping to have finished by today. Startitis. The struggle is real.
Yeah.
So I started my Winstead, which I think we talked about in our last podcast, was on my list of things that I wanted to do. And I've got the first, whoops, dropped some stitches. Let me scoot those back on. So you can see what this is gonna look like. This is the start of it. This is, it's a 6-row repeat, and this is about 4 sections worth. And I'm loving the way this yarn is working up. I'm using the yarn we talked about last podcast, the Millefiori Light Luxe, and this is the colorway that I'm using. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then we have several other colorways that I think will work up just as pretty.
Sparkle.
Yeah, it's just got that little hint of sparkle, and it feels scrumptious. So,
and you get a lot of yardage for this particular yarn. You get 350 yards for a 100-gram little donut. So I love this one in particular because it has those beautiful greens that are in the one Shai's working with, but then it kind of transitions into the blue and the kind of red right there.
Yeah, that's
So-
gorgeous. All the colors are gorgeous.
Yeah. And we have neutrals as well. I love the neutrals too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, like we said last time, as we opened one package, we said, "Oh, look at this! Isn't this beautiful?" And then we opened, "Oh my gosh, look at this one!"
Yeah.
So, they're all beautiful. The Winstead shawl that I'm working on only calls for 2 skeins, and I think it's going to be a fun knit. I've enjoyed it so far, and of course, it was almost a 400 stitch cast on.
It's worth it though.
Yeah, it is. And when I finish this little section, evidently I have to cast on some more stitches. But it's going to be fun. It's a pretty substantial size shawl, actually.
Yeah.
So, and we'll insert a picture.
Yeah,
Because
it-
it's a little better than just holding our phone up.
It will probably be around the same size as my dotted rays that I recently
Yes.
finished. So if you want 1 or 2 podcasts, is it 2 podcasts, I think? I don't think we
think-
talked about it last time, but
No, yeah.
you can
Yeah, I think
see
it was
the
time before last.
the dotted rays. So I made the largest size for that shawl, and
Yeah.
so this one is probably going to be around the same size.
Yeah.
A different shape, but around the same size. All right.
And that's it for me for works in progress.
Okay. Well, the work in progress that I have other than my sock, well, I have 2, but this one I'll show really quickly. This I talked about last time, so I don't really want to continue to show it.
You've made good progress on it, though.
I've made progress, so, you know.
Because what was your goal? Like 6 inches
I think
a
I
week?
wanted about 10 inches a week.
10 inches a
That
week.
didn't happen this week.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, this is the before and after bias scarf by Churchmouse yarns. I'm knitting this out of Malabrigo lace. So if you notice,
That's quite a bit from what you had last time.
it is slanting this way.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what I wanted you to see with this, because it is on the bias. So this, even though this is a lace project, it's going actually a lot faster than I originally thought it would, because I'm knitting these on a size 6 4mm needle, and it's just pretty much a 2-row repeat for this pattern. So it's memorizable, and it's also kind of TV knitting for me. I do have to check every couple of rows to make sure that I didn't slip a stitch off or whatever, you know, didn't drop a stitch, just the nature of this, you know, lace yarn. I am using metal needles, so I mean, I could go to a wooden needle if I wanted to keep it a little bit more secure, but I'm using the Chalgu lace tips, which are really great for this yarn because they have that nice point that you really can get into the stitch with. So, but yeah. And again, this doesn't look like it's gone down that much. Like, lace yarn is magical. It grows overnight. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of my works in progress. And then the other one that I have is actually something that I am stash diving for. I talked about this in one of our quarantine editions of the podcast when we were both social distancing at home. This is the Lapu sweater. So I'll stand back here. It is a cropped faded sweater. You hold 2 strands of fingering weight double, and it has a raglan shaping around, you know, the shoulders right here. So I have, the body of the sweater is finished. I have decided that I'm going to take the ribbing out at the bottom and go down 2 needle sizes for it, just because the pattern didn't originally call for it, but I think I would prefer the look. I finished the sleeve. It has a cute little bell shape to it, and I did go down 2 needle sizes for this ribbing, so that's part of the reason why I'm going to take the bottom ribbing out, as well as I went down 2 needle sizes when I picked up this neckband. So a lot of this yarn, like I said, was stash yarn. This is a great project if you have some of those skeins that are just kind of laying around that you don't know what to do with, to pick up and kind of marl together and fade them. You can also come into the shop and we have lots of fun speckly skeins that you can put with some of your stash to do this. It is written to be cropped, so I will be wearing this over some of my dresses or, you know, with some of my really high-waisted pants. But the pattern is easily modified to just keep knitting because it's a pretty generous, like, sweatshirty type of knit. It's not super fitted. You don't do any kind of shaping for your waist or anything like that. So it would be very easy to add length to. And now all I have to do is pick up the other sleeve. Let's see if I can get this done in a week.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's looking great. I think you've done a fabulous job fading those colors together.
If you want to see a picture of me wearing it, you can go to my Instagram.
There you go.
Because I posted it the other day. I have the one sleeve done and the one sleeve not, and I'm just put it on. And so yeah, those are my works in progress for knitting.
All right. So, I want to talk about a few products. I was going to say when I was working on my Winstead, I'm using, I don't know how well you can see that. I'm using the Grove needles from Litka, and what I like about them is, you know, they're a lighter color. Let me move that so it doesn't fall out. But you can see the set here.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you're working on a dark yarn to have a light colored needle. I have the Umber set, I think, in the that I got a long time ago, and I just love the Litka needles. That's what I use mostly. If I'm doing something like Bethany was talking about where you need a really sharp point, then I'll do the chow goose and do the metal. But for the most part, I knit everything on a wooden needle, and the Litkas are really, really nice. So, but it's nice that they've come out with that lighter color, that bamboo kind of, and it has a green cast to it, which is kind of cool. But to help, because I've been doing a lot of darker yarns, and a dark yarn on a dark needle, it's hard to see where your stitches are to knit them as well. So I've enjoyed using the lighter colored needle.
And those needles come in their larger interchangeable set with the longer 5-inch tips, and it also comes in the shorter 3.5-inch tips, which I have the 3.5-inch tips in the Indigo Litka that I use all the time. And it also comes in 2 different types of cases. So you have the green case that Shai was showing you, and then they have a really pretty linen case.
Yes.
So we have both options. Same needle, just different cases.
Right.
But
and I used to think, why would I want to do those short needles? But I found when I was doing my Andrea Mowry, the daily sweater, that they came in really handy to do the neck and to do the sleeves in the round, because I was doing them with my 5-inch length, and it was kind of cumbersome somehow. And when I changed out to those 3-inch, so much better.
yeah.
So yeah, so I do the 5-inch and the 3.5-inch.
Personal
I mean,
preference,
yeah,
but,
I mean, you know, I've told people you need different needles for different applications. Seriously, you need some metal needles for those yarns that tend to drag on a wooden needle, but you need a wooden needle if you've got yarn that just slides all around and you're gripping your stitches to keep them on the needle, which is what I find myself doing sometimes so, you know, different needles for different applications and different lengths for different applications.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
I like that story. The other thing that we have that we wanted to talk about is the Cocoa Knits. We love all Cocoa Knits products,
Yes.
really. But they're
She's genius.
They're natural mesh bags. So the interesting thing about this I was reading up on this the other day. This is actually made out of recycled paper, I believe, and it is washable, which I find really fascinating. Like, I have the accessory roll, which I love, and that's made out of a paper that's washable. I didn't realize these mesh bags were washable, but basically they are a bag that's great for like a single skein project or something kind of small, like a hat, a sock, you know, something of that nature. And it has these snaps so that you can, you know, thread your yarn through here, snap it, and it just kind of allows it to feed out. You can close it up completely so that your project doesn't drop out. And this one we have cross stitched. So the weave of this actually makes it fantastic for cross stitching. So we just cross stitched thread onto there with some pearl cotton thread, and this is a fun project if you want to personalize something,
Right.
and just kind of do a quick little weekend project. You can do your initials, you could do like a cute little heart, you could do a rainbow. Like, there's so many different things that you can do to personalize these bags, but I love these.
It'd be a great way to give a gift and put their initials, the recipient put their initials on the front of it.
Yeah, so love that. And then the other thing that we have, another Cocoa Knits product, we have her sweater care kit. This thing, I want one of these. This thing is amazing. So this has all of the products that you need in it in order to take care of your sweaters and to block your sweaters. So this is a great gift for people who aren't knitters that have sweaters they need to hand wash. And this is also a great idea for knitters to take care of their sweaters. So it has the little pop-up drying rack that you can just lay your sweater across, and it's a mesh drying rack. This has a beautiful blocking cloth, so it is marked off in a grid so that when you lay your sweater down, you can make sure that it's measuring correctly. You know, you don't overstretch it.
Yeah.
It also has a small sweater bag. So this is great for just popping it in the washing machine if you want to wash it, but protect it.
Yeah. And you can use that for any of your fine delicates too.
And it also comes with a drying towel. So when you hand wash your sweaters and you kind of wring out, you know, the water very carefully, you roll it up in this towel, and it will, you know, it's made so that it won't rough up the yarn, you know, and cause it to kind of agitate the fibers and felt it. It's very gentle, but you just kind of roll it up to squeeze that extra water out. And the last thing that it comes with is a sample size of eucalyptus, which is a really good wool wash. And it's, I mean, this stuff smells amazing, and it's natural. So
Yeah. And then it's all kept together in its
own
little bag. So it's your blocking kit all together in one spot.
yeah. So yeah, Cocoa Knits for the win.
Anything else we want to talk about?
The last thing is my little sewing project.
Oh, yes.
So I started this last night. I had watched a lady do a workshop on Instagram. She was doing a workshop about embroidery stitches. Previously, I had watched her do a workshop about collages. And so I decided to go to my scrap bin and just pull out a bunch of stuff and start stitching. So as you can see, I have a little bit of beadwork. I have some embroidery. I love these little beads down here. But some of this, like really all of this fabric was from thread. I don't think we have any more in stock, but we do have some options that would be great for pieces like this that you want to just play with scraps and cut out shapes and things like that. This is an Anna Maria, and I will say a lot of her fabrics are great for cutting out different shapes. She has a lot of florals that she'll use specifically for collages. So this is just something that I'm playing around with. It's not really meant to be anything specific. This isn't like, oh, this is a quilt block or, you know, a wall hanging or anything like that. But it's just to kind of practice some stitches, some techniques, and create a beautiful piece of artwork. So we'll see how this progresses, and we'll see if I finish it. Because I have several embroidery projects I've started that I haven't quite finished yet. But hopefully, since this is small, we'll finish it up and it'll be on the next podcast.
It's really cute. I love the beadwork.
I'm having fun with the beads.
Yeah.
I'm finally getting into the beading of embroidery. I used to only know some of the basic like stitches with the thread. Now I'm kind of delving into beaded embroidery, and it's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, our tea today, and we moved it back to hot tea today. This is Sunday, July 12th.
Yes.
It has been raining, and that knocked the temperature back to about 70. Rainy, 70, hot tea.
Good excuse for hot tea in the middle of July.
And this is a monkey-picked oolong from Tivano, which is no longer a tea store except what you can pick up in the grocery. But it's delicious. And other companies do have monkey-picked teas. So I'll take a look at that and see what else I can come up with, and link that in our show notes below this video. But this, oolong is a lighter, less fermented tea than black tea, and so it makes for a lovely drink. I like it. It almost has a little bit of a smoky note, kind of like you've added just a little bit of Lapsang Souchong to it. I love it. It's one of my favorites. So
I don't know that I've really ever had an oolong tea, so that was the first sip caught on camera of Bethany trying oolong tea, and she approves.
it's good. I love it. We thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.